Head of HR. And today we're here to discuss the emerging issues in HR, specifically on the technology front. And we have a very able speaker, Emmanuel Micheal, who will be taking us through the session. We hope you will enjoy and you'll make it a very interactive session. Please feel free to share questions as we move along. Thank you. Emmanuel, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Lillian and Mercy. So my name is Emmanuel Micheal. I'm joining all the way from Nigeria. So I would like to welcome all the participants who are currently joining us live to this event from your various locations across Africa. So thank you. Good afternoon. I believe in Africa we're all afternoon, so I would say it is better to say good afternoon. Yes. So I work for a financial services company here in Nigeria. It's a Pan-African company, and I head the human capital for the country in Nigeria. So today we are going to be talking about emerging issues in HR, new technology, threats, and opportunity. Okay. So you realize that since the beginning of this year, okay, most people have been working from home. And we did not just wake up and decide to work from home. Something happened. The coronavirus pandemic hit us. I recall that before now, organizations will say, or some managers will say that they don't see themselves allowing their employees to work from home. Okay? They don't see themselves allowing their employees to work remotely. They want to see everybody face to face. There are some managers that will say to themselves that, how will I come to the office and I don't get, and they see people around them. There are some who even work late. The more late they work, the more people to be with them. So coronavirus came and changed everything. Okay. So as soon as coronavirus came and changed everything, we now discover that everybody is now forced to work from home. As a result, technology began to become very critical and important in everything that we do. So we've seen that during this period, technology, this coronavirus has disrupted everything. And the only way that we can technology. So you begin to see changes, increased use in the use of artificial intelligence in hiring and recruitment. You begin to see growth in employee tools. Okay, so in terms of employee relations, you begin to see tools. So organizations are beginning to deploy employee tools for financial wellness, as well as for physical and mental health. And everything is going automated. The rise in the use of employee self-service, the rise in the use of manager self-service is now what is prevalent in most organizations. So I'm just going to go through four major trends that we've seen during this particular period, the first half of the year. So the first trend is on the growth of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Before, at the backstage, before we come on to the platform, we're talking about the tools that we're currently using for this conference. On day one, it's very challenging for us to use it. We are trying to figure it out. And then as we continue, moving to day two or moving to day three, we get good at using the tool. So, and I was telling my co-panelists and team members here that this is machine learning in action. Okay? So we're learning how to become good. So that is what exactly is happening. So organizations that have deployed tools, automation to do recruitment, to do hiring, to do interviews, those machines are getting better every day. Okay? They are getting better every day, and that is helping to ensure that the recruitment is becoming better and better, and maybe eventually it becomes perfect. And that is what we then begin to deploy to hire people, to recruit people. You also discover that in recruitment now, most organizations are beginning to deploy virtual onboarding. Okay, you want to onboard an employee, You do the recruitment using maybe Zoom tool or Microsoft Teams. After the interview, you select the candidate, you give them their offer letter. Before they come either physically or reports by working remotely, you carry out the induction online. Okay, you do all that online. So that's one. So in terms of employee wellness also, we are also beginning to see, this period is such a challenging period, okay? Because of the complexity of what is going on, the stress level is high. People are beginning to have serious mental issues, mental challenges. And as a result of this mental challenge, organizations are finding ways to see how can we help our people, because if they are not mentally balanced, they will not be able to give you the best in what you expect them to do. So organizations are beginning to invest. How do we help our people? Say, for instance, now I'm working from home, okay? And I sit in one location from morning till evening. That is not helpful for my health. That is not helpful for my health, okay? So organizations are beginning to find how do we help our employees so that they are not overwhelmed, okay? If you have these Zoom meetings back to back, you're just watching at the screen, looking at the screen, talking to someone over the computer. After a while, you get tired and you really want to rest. Okay, so organizations are beginning to deploy tools that will, one, help the employees to check their mental and physical wellness. In addition, during this particular period, people are anxious, okay, about their finances. You discover that when you stay back home, I recall that before now, people run to the office because when you go to work, you are likely going to spend less, okay, at home. But now you have to work from home. So it means that your expenses is going up high. And there's need to track it up. Some organizations are beginning to deploy, maybe help their employees with budgeting tools so that they can manage their finances properly. Some have deployed, help them to get or subscribe to a fitness tracking app that will help you make sure that you do your exercises when you need to do it. There was one of the meetings I attended yesterday, one of the sessions. The speaker was saying that when she delivers training, what she does to get people engaged is that every 4 minutes you need to do some activity. Every 4 minutes do some activity. It's so that you don't get bored, and then you don't sit down there. And then if you're having a very long hour training, you can say, okay, every 20 minutes, there's a 5 minutes comfort break. People get up, stretch themselves, and move around. So that's something that organizations are also deploying, okay? So in terms of to help the employees improve their wellness. Okay? Now, the
Hello.
fourth trend that I've also seen is that because we are working remotely, there are several tools, okay, multiple tools for remote work. So there are several tools that organizations are beginning to deploy for remote work. In my organization, I'm a member of an agile practice group. And so what we are trying to do is deploy agility across the way we do our work. In the
Grace, please switch off mute your mic. Grace, please
Sorry,
mute your
let
mic.
me. I need to go. Just a minute.
Sorry, Manuel.
Sorry.
Let's get that sound out, and then I can continue.
Yeah,
so
please.
As we're discussing, for those of you who are watching and have questions, please, I think there's a question. I don't know if there's a question. Use the discuss button, I think.
Yeah. In case you have any questions.
So when you click on the discuss, you use the Q&A, and then you can type in your question there. Yeah, that's it. So I'm also learning this tool. Yeah.
So we are getting there.
Do that and then drop your question so that by the time I finish my intro, we can begin to discuss your questions and get you involved in the session. So I was talking about organizations deploying multiple tools for remote work. So we've discovered, like in my organization, the team that I belong to, which is the team that is helping to implement agility practices and principles in our workplace. What I've seen is that aside from using Zoom and Microsoft Teams to collaborate with my team members, we've also deployed some whiteboards, okay, digital whiteboard where people can go collaborate, provide ideas, there was one that I discovered also last week. It's called Lean Coffee. I think it's something called Lean Coffee. So what you use that tool to do is when we want to have a meeting, let's say we want to have a meeting to brainstorm and we don't really have an agenda. We come together, okay, and then everyone will suggest what it is that we discuss, okay? And as we all bring up different ideas, those ideas are keyed in. At the end of that, each team member will have opportunity to vote 3 times. So you can vote 3 times on any of the topics. So the topic that comes first is now the priority. So this helps us to be able to prioritize what do we look at, what do we discuss. Okay. So this is something that coronavirus has put on us, and we're now beginning to use technology to see how to address that. So in terms of measuring productivity, I think for HR people, technology somehow is helping us to ensure that people are being productive. So several tools are out there, and it's now for us as HR people to begin to discover what are the tools, depending on what it is that organizations want to do. What are the tools that will help us achieve that particular goal? Then third, the third trend that I've also noticed is in learning, training, and development. Now we are all attending this conference virtually. Okay? Trainings are currently being deployed virtually. So you have a virtual training, which is facilitator led. You have an online training, maybe it's a video that's recorded, and people have to go in there to watch the video. They have an opportunity to be able to rewind and then go ahead again. And then these trainings are actually deployed in small bites, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and people are picking up a lot. So you're able to go through so much. And then apart from that, the great opportunity that you find in that tool is that before now, when you want to organize trainings, you organize training for, say, a maximum of 20 or 25 because you want to make sure that everyone who is training is engaged. Okay, you want to make sure that they are engaged. So what is happening now is that you now have the ability to deploy training to 100, 1,000, okay? 2,000, and then everyone can decide to take the training as and when they are available to take the training. And some of the training, you're also able to deploy an assessment. People will take the assessment. Those that pass the assessment will get a certificate. Those that do not pass the assessment will retake the training. So instead of you running training 2 times, say for instance, you want to deploy, because I work in a financial institution, let's say you want to deploy a credit analysis training, okay? Or credit technique training, and you want to be sure that the people who have gone through the training understand exactly what has been taught. Okay? If they give them an assessment and they fail, if it was a physical training, you need to organize a refresher and then you deploy again. So that takes a lot of time. It takes people off their work. But now, with technology, you can deploy training. Employees can take it at their spare time. They can take it during work hours. You don't have to shut down the operation because you want to send people to go for training. So that's a great opportunity that I've seen with regard to learning, training, and development. And then the other thing again that all these technologies helping us to do is we're beginning to be able to gather different data points, okay, which we can aggregate together and begin to predict, okay, and then help us to be able to forecast talents that are ready to occupy either a higher role, help us to be able to map out the skills that our people have, okay? What sort of competencies they've been able to acquire based on the learning events that we've deployed, okay? And then aside from that, because you're using system to track everything now, on the click of a button, you can actually generate a report. This morning, I had to share a report. We deployed a training yesterday, and within 24 hours, 3 people have completed that training. What did I do this morning? I sent out a mail congratulating these 3 people, and the mail went across the organization. So everyone now knows that these 3 are the first to deploy, to complete the training. If I were deploying the training, I need to bring them all together, then we do the training. And at the end of the day, if I don't do an evaluation, it's difficult for me to know who really understood what was taught. So these are the trends. Okay. So in terms of opportunity is great. Technology helps us in HR to be able to scale. Okay. And that's why we need to make sure that the foundation is solid. So whatever technology that you decide to deploy or adopt in your organization, you need to make sure that you've been able to study that your needs. You need to assess your needs first, okay? Understand what is it that you require, and then begin to review different technology that's available in those particular spaces and see how they can address your need. Now, the challenge or the threat of using technology. You know, you're asking people to work from home. Security becomes critical. How do you ensure that your document, your information is secure? So whatever technology you want to deploy, ensure that security is key. Recently, when we went into lockdown and everybody was rushing to Zoom, we saw what happened. Zoom became insecure. Nobody thought about security for Zoom before now, but Zoom became insecure because you could be in a meeting and someone from nowhere will jump into the meeting, hijack the meeting, and start writing some funny things or start talking, and the host is not able to take care of that. So recently, Zoom decided to implement additional safety measures to ensure that the system is secure. So security is key as you deploy all these technology to enable you to work remotely. You need to make sure that you look at what is the security impact of the technology that we are deploying. So these are some of the things that I would like to share. The other thing maybe I want to talk about is employee self-service. So I've said that as HR people, we need to begin to move the HR processes to the line manager, to the employees. Let's say someone wants to apply for a leave. You don't expect them to fill a hard copy paper and send it to HR. HR will process and type a letter and say, okay, or type an email and say, okay, your leave has been approved. Now, employees can go to the system, apply for their leave. The managers will approve that. Have you prepared your leave calendar? How many people have gone on leave? How many have not gone on leave? And because this is also tied to the payroll, you're able to compute your leave provisions. Okay, so these are some of the things that technology is helping us to achieve. So that's my intro on the emerging issues in HR. So to recap, I talked about artificial intelligence and machine learning being deployed to take care of recruitment and hiring. I also talked about employee wellness tools. We are beginning to see it because as organizations, we need to be concerned about the wellness of our team members. So organizations are helping employees to subscribe to budgeting apps, fitness tracker, tools that will help them also manage childcare and all that at home. Then I talked about multiple tools for remote work. Okay, so people are deploying collaborative tools, communication tools that will enable you to have a face-to-face video call just like the way we are having it. I can see the smile on Mercy's face. I can see the smile on Lillian's face. I'm able to assess whether
I
I
think
will
it's
not
from his
know
phone.
to be in this meeting and they are not invited. I don't know to do that. Then I also talked about how technology is helping us to scale learning, development, and training. Okay? So that's my intro for this session. So I'll be standing by. I'm sure Lillian has something she wants to add to this conversation. And then we will now take your questions and then we run with it.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. As we proceed, a warm welcome to the professionals who have joined us. In case you have any questions, on the right side of your screen, you will notice there's a Discuss tab. Click on it. You feel free to post on the Q&A and on the open forum. as we proceed, before I take it back to Lillian, thank you so much, Michael, for the great insights on the emerging trends. Maybe to build up on your points, there's something you've mentioned about artificial intelligence learning. Maybe I would like to pose a question to you and Lillian. Do you think that as a threat, do you think that in the new phase that we are moving in, we are trying to outface the older generation? Because the millennials, it will be very easy to train them, but the older generation a challenge comes in when you have to train them something that they're not used to. Maybe you can address that. Are we trying to phase out our aged employees who are a great asset with very high experiences?
I don't think we're trying to phase them out. Okay, yes, they are older,
Yeah.
but I think that some of them can still learn technology. Alternatively, the wealth of knowledge and experience that they've gathered, it is time for us to begin to codify that experience, codify that knowledge, so that we can disseminate that knowledge via the system and make it available for everyone to access. So they're still very useful. As we build the systems, we need these people who have these experiences to be able, like when you want to carry out a job analysis, okay? You want to carry out a job evaluation or a job analysis, you will need people who have been doing that job to understand how the job is done, okay? And then before you begin to recommend tweaks to that. So I don't think that deploying artificial intelligence or machine learning would automatically phase out these older people. Yes, but as the workforce continue to age, the new ones will be coming in, and there's a handshake, okay? Because there's a handshake, that transfer of knowledge and experience will continue to happen. So I think they're still very relevant, and most of them are actually catching up in learning how to use these new tools. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe Mercy, good question. Just to add on to what Emmanuel has talked about, and I agree with him fully. We need both generations. If you look at the older generation, they bring in wisdom, they bring in that historical background of the organizations, and therefore we need them to continue in that manner. If you look at the younger generation, again, these are people who are bringing in vibrancy, they're bringing in innovation and all that. So we need a blend of both, and you can't say the other lot that is bringing in wisdom are lesser than the people who are bringing in vibrancy. Because again, you also need this older generation. They're able to anchor the newer ones. So to me, I think we need both. And that blend will be very, very important going forward, especially looking at even the staying power of even the younger generation. We are talking of 2 to 3 years. Therefore, you need these older ones so that at least there is that bit of grounding the whole workforce at the same time. So to me, I think the blended system will really do well. And then back to that issue of replacing, or rather AI replacing workforce.
Yeah.
I think that is not the actual way of looking at it, because we'll replace the tasks, but not the jobs. The tasks will replace because we'll be doing things slightly differently. If you look at even HR, how we used to do our maybe 5 years back or 10 years back, we continue redefining how we are doing our roles. So it is more of replacing the tasks and not replacing the jobs. Actually, jobs, I think there is more creation of jobs. Like data scientists were not there 10 years back, 5 years back. So we can see nowadays, even in the papers, they're advertising for data scientists. We're advertising, I don't know, for so many roles. So roles will be coming up actually more than before. The only difference is the tasks is what will be done differently. And therefore, some tasks will have to go away, or rather to be phased out. So in that phasing out, more will be created and new job roles will also come in.
Good. Thank you. I think I will still pick up on Michael's great insights on virtual onboarding. Previously, we were used to having a potential candidate come, and then you do the interview from the workplace. It is coming with opportunities where you're able to get their IQ and their reasoning. But what do you think are the threats that are coming with artificial onboarding, with virtual onboarding, that is?
Okay, so with virtual onboarding, I don't really see, the only threat that I see there, okay, is in terms of the information that you are storing on that system, okay? Maybe some of them might contain the company's strategy and all that. So there is need to ensure that, sometimes when people go to write exams, today we have exams that are written, computer-based tests that are written online, okay? What have they done to secure the material? You know that is a sensitive information. You don't want the candidate who's taking that exam to take a picture or to take a screenshot. So it means that there is always a camera. So they need to use a system that has a camera, and that system is able to take shots of what is going on with that particular candidate from time to time. Okay. So if you're doing a virtual onboarding and you're scared that maybe this candidate who is coming on to resume is likely going to copy this thing, except he stores it in his memory and goes away with it. But to make a copy is difficult. I participate, I'm a board member of some companies, okay, of an organization. So in that organization, when we have our board meeting or our council meeting, the meeting materials are not given to us hard copy. They don't even send it via email. It's available on a secure platform that you can read only. You can't even do a screenshot, okay? And so possibility for you to be able to deploy things to mitigate that particular risk is there. So that's for me, how to address that. And like I keep saying, the opportunity is great. Why is the opportunity great? You can do onboarding, say you bring in 30 people, you can give them same experience, to these 30 people all at once. You're able to give them attention. And if they have a challenge, maybe there is a tool there that will enable them to engage with you. Drop a message and you come back and address their specific need. So that's my view on that.
Okay, allow me to get back to you before I go to Lillian. Yeah. Still on the onboarding process, I am viewing it as the process starting from interview.
Yes.
I am sure you've already done Zoom interviews. There is that personal touch that you have with a potential candidate while in the boardroom and now doing it via Zoom. Maybe you can address something about that. There's that personal touch that we normally have when you're doing an interview with someone physically rather than,
So as you and I are talking now, are you not feeling the energy from you two? Am I not feeling the energy from you two? That is the personal touch. It doesn't look as if I'm talking to you via a medium. It looks as if I'm seeing you face to face. You're seeing me. You can see the smile. I can see the smile. I made you giggle just now, so you laughed. So that is the touch. We've moved this touch from physical to virtual.
Yeah.
Yes. That touch is still there. We've not removed it. The only thing is that I'm not seeing you flesh to flesh, but the touch is still there. And before we even had these video calls, recall that before when we make calls, it's only the voice that we hear. Okay?
Yeah.
And when you're talking to somebody on the phone and you're only hearing their voice, when they smile, it shows or it goes, you can hear the smile, okay, over the phone. And that is like here we're not only hearing the smile. Yeah, so we're not only hearing the smile, we're seeing the smile. So that personal touch for me is still there. It's still there.
Indeed, we have a lot of work to do as HR professionals to make sure that we also make the virtual environment very enabling for them to express themselves.
Yes.
Lillian? What do you think about the virtual onboarding? I was just mentioning that we are looking at onboarding from the process from interviews, orientation, getting them to get acquainted with the organization, the norms, the values. Yeah. What are some of the maybe you can address the opportunities that come with now the virtual onboarding?
I think what will happen with this, the virtual onboarding is just like Emmanuel has talked about it. It's more of making sure that the system, or rather the platform that you're using, is quite engaging, because we are used to the feel and touch as HR, and even as human beings. We want to feel, we want to touch, and now we are not having that kind of platform anymore, or that kind of opportunity. Therefore, it means then whatever system that you're going to put in place must be able to give us that window. So if you look at maybe gamification, it's been there for for some time, but I think most of us HR, we've never embraced the system. So maybe it's high time we're going to eat completely and make sure that even if it means working with the vendors, so that we get to the point of having, like Emmanuel is saying, we'll still have a bit of seeing you. We are able to laugh. We are able to connect to the emotions, because you're human beings with emotions, with feelings. The last thing you want is to onboard the staff, recruit a staff, or even have interviews. Yesterday I had interviews. But the way you're conducting the interviews, are you seeing the person? Can you see the emotional state? So I think, to me, is something that is still doable. There's a lot of room for improvement, or rather room for even the learning process. But again, it's the only way that we can survive as HR professionals. We cannot continue with the old ways and expect to thrive in the post-COVID world.
Yeah. As we continue, warm welcome to the participants joining us. In case you have any questions, on the right side of your screen, you will notice a discuss button. Feel free to post your questions there as we proceed. I think also, let me build up on what you've just mentioned about the interviews. There's the HR perspective, and then there's the employee perspective. I think I read something on LinkedIn where someone was mentioning that they were interviewing someone and they were in the house, and then a baby just came around. I think it's also human for us to open up to that idea that someone is actually working from home, and there are so many hindrances that come around.
I think I agree with you, Mercy. On that front, things will happen such, then it means me and you, how prepared are we to even have that mindset that actually it's no longer so formal, yet we can still have a blend of a bit of understanding, informal setup, and still conduct our interviews without judging, without having any or rather biasness. So very good point.
I am still building up
By the way, that story. And then hired them. So we've seen situations
because no, this is a very
the Zoom meeting, and then the baby knocks in. There was even one that I watched. Children were in a school, the people were around, and then the mommy came in and was asking the child, he wanted something, and the boy was pointing backwards, and the boy was, the mommy went backward, and she wasn't dressed. So it therefore means that when we are in this virtual, especially when we're on a video call, we need to let people know that this is what we want to do, so that those that ordinarily want to barge in somehow wait until after that. So what I did, because I'm at home now, so as I was going live, I had to tell everyone, no shouting, because the babies are there and they like to scream, their mommy will come. No shouting, and when you want to come into the room, no knocking, just open the door gently, and then prepare. Not talking, write me a note, So those are some of the things we need to begin to put in place as the law help us to manage this environment. But interruptions, yes, we should expect them. If you're working from home, and the baby knows that you are home, they will want to, daddy is there or mommy is there, let me go and check what they have. Maybe they're actually doing their school assignment and they get stuck, they will want to come to you to ask for assistance.
I think the prevalent theme that I'm getting is new problems, new solutions. Now we need to be very agile and flexible.
Yes, and creative with our processes.
Very true. I think as I build up on you, Emmanuel, you mentioned something about employee wellness. These are very unprecedented times and strange times, and we need to ensure that our employees are healthy, emotionally physically. Maybe you can mention something about that on the threats and opportunities that come, on the threats basically that come with employee wellness, virtual employee wellness, as Lillian builds up on the opportunities.
Okay, so on employee wellness, the opportunity there is this period that we find ourselves, okay, people are overwhelmed, okay, people are overwhelmed, and because you're also working from home, you're faced with challenges of seeing what is going on at home. Employees are looking for opportunity where the employers will show them some sort of empathy, okay? Will show them some sort of empathy. So because we're not certain of what is going to happen, people are anxious. And because they are anxious, and then the cost of living is also going high, it also increases that anxiety. And as it increases that anxiety, people are worried. This morning, someone was chatting with me, they just resumed work in a particular place, and they're considering letting them go because things are not doing very well. So everyone is scared. I'm at home. I don't know whether what I'm doing is contributing enough for the organization to keep me. Maybe the organization is going to let me go. So those are some of the challenges that people are finding, working from home. They don't know whether tomorrow the organization will just wake up and say, there's no job, things are no longer. Because even up till now, yes, the lockdown might have been relaxed, but we are beginning to notice that another wave of the rise in the people who have the virus, and that is likely going to lead organizations to want to shut down. So everyone is anxious and worried. Employees are looking for ways to be assured that everything is all right. So those are the threats that I see currently with regard to working remote, and it's impacting the employee mental, physical state. Yes.
Before I go to Lillian, maybe you would mention what is our role as HR practitioners what is our duty to our employees in that particular state?
Our duty is to show care. Our duty is to show care. When we show that care, we might not be able to solve all the problems for the employees. Okay, the organization might not, because the organization is also struggling. But we can show care. We can show that we are concerned. We want to know, how do we help? Maybe in the course of trying to show care and understanding the challenge the employee is facing, we are able to recommend solutions which might not necessarily come from the organization. There are some NGOs out there that are providing free solutions. Okay, maybe people are sponsoring that. They are providing solutions that are free. As the HR person, it's for you to identify, based on the challenges that you think that your team members are going through, where can I find? The only way you can find help for them is the major role that the HR team should be doing. And then in addition, encourage the line managers to also show care, because HR will not be able to do all the job by itself. We need to operate via the line manager. So help the line manager build the capability and capacity to be able to show care to their team members that are working with them.
Thank you so much. I think you've brought it really well on our role to show care. I will give it now to Lillian to.
I think, Basti, this is a very good conversation, because for HR professionals, this is the time for us to just actually showcase our agile side, our agility in full force, because again, like you've seen what has happened, there's a lot of disruption. So how do you make sure that we are able to move from point A to point B within a shorter time? Because again, if you look at what might be applicable for one staff right now might not be applicable to another one. We might be having a female staff maybe who has a young child, and these school-going children. So they have to set up the school online sessions before she comes to work. And therefore, how do you ensure that that particular person is taken care of in a manner that is also offering a level playing field compared to maybe another staff who is not having children? So these are people who will maybe report maybe slightly later or late compared to and their counterparts. There is that bit. So to me, I'm seeing an opportunity for us as HR to be more agile. I'm seeing another opportunity for us to be more compassionate. I think that one my co-speakers talked about it, whereby compassion to an extent that you're able to feel and touch each and every staff. Because without compassion, you're not able to thrive in this current mode that you're in. People are struggling with mental issues. People are struggling with emotional, spiritual, because even churches, you're not able to go to church. Yes, the churches are back, but not fully. So even that, people are struggling with actually all the wheels of wellness, the wheel of well-being. So from spiritual to mental to physical to all the wheels of them. I may not be able to delve into them, but having that in mind, then you are able to touch and feel each and every staff of yours. And how do we do this? If you ask me, you'll do more check-ins as opposed to meetings. So check-ins is how you're doing. How is there anything I can do? Where are you? Those kind of small questions, they make a lot of difference in people's lives. So besides the check-ins, there is also the bit of coaching. This is a time to coach your leaders. This is a time to coach your managers and your team leaders on how to touch and feel the staff, on how to be compassionate. So this is not the time for us, HR, to sit with our skills to ourselves and wait for people to come to us so that we can deliver the solution. This is a time for us to go out there. Is an opportunity for us to shine, and not to shine just to get the glory, but actually to impact the lives of each and every staff in the organization, because we have the know-how, we have the knowledge, and we even have the experience, having been from emotional perspective and the fact that we work with human beings, and that is our role, then we are able to interpret emotions and give solutions. So to me, I'm seeing an opportunity for agility, opportunity for compassion, opportunity for coaching. Another one that I'll talk about is maybe the fact that we are able to wear different hats. Today, you are a doctor in the morning because you have to answer, this is how I'm feeling, Lillian. I don't know if my chest is congested. I'm feeling this way. So what do you think?
Yeah.
So I become a doctor in the morning. Around midday there, I become a thing. There's an emergency. So there is a bit of just wearing different hats for it. And I think it's a moment for us to just do what is expected of us, whereby it's just moving from just being a people person. I don't know, the people persons to maybe bigger than that. Yes, bigger than that. Now we should be more involved.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned something very interesting about check-ins that has made my mind go into communication. We are in very uncertain times. People don't know what is happening tomorrow. I think it's also our duty to keep them informed. I think there's nothing as over communication. Just let them know what to expect, what time to expect it, so that their mental states, they know what they are moving forward into, because we also don't know what we are moving into, and people might feel like they are moving into a space they don't know if they are working, or I think it's also very important for us to keep them abreast with whatever is happening in the company.
Exactly, Mercy. I agree with you. Just to pick up on that, Mercy, if you allow me. Actually, normally there's this saying that no news is worse, or rather bad news is better than no news at all.
No news, exactly.
So you rather even give the bad news so that people are able to know where we are as an organization or as a people, rather than when you keep quiet. Because when you're silent, then you are creating room for anxiety, you are creating room for confusion and all those manner of things that do happen in the silence. So I think I agree with you fully. You rather even communicate the bad news, then we are able to manage together, we are able to work as a family.
Very true, very true. Michael, you have something to add on that?
I think she has said it. Communication during this period, communication is key. So
I think it's his connectivity.
Between last week and today, there have been some protests in Nigeria, okay, and about the police, talking about EndSARS. They want to end police brutality. It's been impacting movement, it's been impacting businesses. The employees want to know, okay, what should they do? Should they continue to come to work? If they have challenge, how would the organization respond? So what we had to do was to begin to communicate to our people. And then as we monitor what is going on, we keep them informed. This is the step that you need to now take. So if there's need for us to close a particular location early enough for safety, we make sure we do that. So communication is key. The employees are waiting, to hear what would you want us to do next, considering what is going on in the environment. So as HR people and members of the senior executive of organizations, we should not just sit back and assume that they will know what to do. No, even if they know what to do, they still need us to lead and show that. Communication, for me, we can never go wrong in communicating the situation and next steps for our people.
Thank you. Performance management is one of our key areas and focal areas to ensure that we are moving in line with the company objectives. I found myself, I think a while back, in a discussion on how do you do performance management for people working virtual. We are very used to maybe going around seeing people are working, but how do you handle now the virtual workforce? Maybe that is a topic we need to address.
So how to handle that? Before now, what we try to do is just to set objectives or give people certain tasks, okay, to carry out, and then we wait until the end of the year or mid-year to review it. What should happen today, with technology is that you should actually be appraising your team member daily, weekly, okay? So what I encourage is if people are working remotely, the best way to appraise them is have a one-on-one meeting with your team members, say at the beginning of the week, Monday, okay? Have a 30 minutes meeting, it's okay. Agree the agenda for that week. What do we need to do this week, okay? And then meet with all of them. 30 minutes, say you have 3 people or 4 people reporting with you. Have a one-on-one with them, agree with them. So that 30 minutes that you are spending with them is an opportunity to agree what they need to do that week. It's an opportunity for you to coach them, okay, on how to become better at what they're doing. Then check in every evening. That's what I try to do. Every evening, they send you an update. This is what I've done today. Okay? So if there's need for you to make any contribution, you make that contribution. The check-in might not necessarily be a face-to-face meeting. It could be an email for them to send you. Okay, based on what we discussed, this is what I've been able to do. You do that check-in every evening. On Friday, which is the end day of the week, okay, have now a combined meeting of all your team members. So when you bring them in that meeting, what are we doing? We're reviewing all that we've done for the week and preparing for the following week. And for those who have done excellently well, that's an opportunity to recognize them amongst the team members. Okay? So performance management has moved from waiting till the end of the half year or year end to a weekly thing, to a daily thing. And with technology, it makes it easy for you to be able to track all that and ensure that people are delivering. The focus now should not be on how long you are in the office, it's the result. So we're looking for results. So I can give you a task and you say you're going to give it to me in 1 week. So even if you work 2 hours, 3 hours in a day, the important thing is you deliver what you promised to deliver. So we understand, you and I understand the expectation. You know what I'm expecting. Okay, and then you deliver that. As soon as you deliver it, then you've achieved that particular objective. So that's for me how performance management should be done with the advent of remote working in place.
Thank you so much. I think I've heard you mention that we should now shift from being process oriented to result oriented.
Yes, results.
Yeah, to results, because that is where it all lies.
Because there's no result, okay? Activity without results is nothing. So every organization is looking for results. Result is the real thing. You show the result, then we move. But no result, you're just busy, and we're not achieving anything. That's a challenge. Nobody wants to know the activity that is going on. We just want to see the numbers. We want to see the numbers. It has to be green, not red.
Lillian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mercy. Actually, just to add on the discussion that is going on, I think I'll talk of maybe ensuring that the new performance management system is quite simpler. Nobody wants anything that is complicated in this day and age. I think the days of having long 4-page document cannot be applicable in this day and age. So what you're looking at, maybe just having a one simple pager, and this pager is whereby you are communicating, you are just having your deliverables, the key deliverables. Don't have the hygiene factors, the things that what is the core deliverables for that particular department, or the key deliverables for that individual. So that is what we should be seeing. Another thing that should form part of your performance management system right now, I'm looking at having, like you've just said, focus on the outcomes, not the activities. The fact that I've not reported to you the whole day does not mean I'm not doing anything. So having these helicopter managers around you the whole day, I can't see you, where have you been the whole day, what have you been doing? I think those are not conversations that you can afford to have in this day and age. What you're looking at is the outcome. So have a system whereby you can co-create, not creating, you co-create because it's you and your team. You're going to agree on the deliverables together. Once you've agreed on these deliverables and the timelines, then you'll come and look at the outcomes. So to me, I think it's more of the outcome, or rather output, rather than the input. So it's not what I've done in the course of the day that matters, but actually what is the outcome. So yeah, that would be my contribution to that.
Yeah, I think I hear you saying that we should be more collaborative, create more collaborative teams. Yeah, exactly. I think something else that I had Emmanuel mention was that performance management is a continuous process. On-spot recognition is very important. Maybe you can mention something about recognition.
Recognition, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Mercy.
On-spot recognition is very important, whereby even if I am not working from the office, I am confident that my supervisor has recognized that I have done this. It builds on motivation, yeah?
Mercy, I agree with you 100%, because I need to know how I'm faring on, or rather the staff, they need to know how they're faring on. If you're quiet as a leader, then you're creating that room for speculation for so many, the anxiety and all that. And even that staff will not perform to their best because they don't know if what they're doing is good enough or is even beyond, or they need to put in more effort. So I think that feedback, and right now it's called feed forward, not even feedback, feed forward, because you're able to able to even project, and then you are having a discussion that is very futuristic, conversation that is very positive, because most of the time feedback is kind of a bit of negativity, what was not achieved, what was missed out. But with feed forward is more of how do we get there? How can I help you to get to your deliverables or your targets? So those are the conversations that we as HR should coach the leaders or the business group to have those kind of conversation with the staff. So let's focus on the feed forward rather than the feedback. And then also let us push for frequency, a lot of conversations that are ongoing. It can be even on a daily basis, but let it be on an output as opposed to the input. So Mercy, I agree with you in terms of recognition. The moment if it's recognition, the more you do it, the more the staff chants out, or rather the more the person is more inspired to do more, to do more. So I think it's important that we have those kind of systems. And the only way we can do it right now, Mercy, there's no shortcut. It's just communication. Just giving feedback and feed forward.
Very true. Thank you for bringing up something I think most of us did not know. I did not know it has shifted from feedback to feed forward. That is a new concept you have.
Yes, it is.
You have brought, that was an aha moment for me, and maybe it's only me. I don't know about Michael.
No, I'm used to feed forward. In progressive performance management or performance management or discipline, we talk about when someone is not performing well, you don't just decide to cut them out. You give them a performance improvement plan. Okay. And that of my superior plan is to help them to be able to get better. So instead of waiting for the end of where you need to do the approval, if you're having that conversation continually with them, when you get to the point when we need to fill out forms, the person already knows whether they met or they've not met the condition. So there are no surprises. The element of surprise is then removed because conversation has been going on all along. Okay, and the essence, for a manager to say that they are successful, they only become successful when their team members are successful. Okay? And for your team members to be successful, your role as the manager or the line manager is to help remove the obstacles for that particular team member. And the only way you can remove the obstacle for your team members is to know what they are facing day in, day out. And you can only get to know what they are facing day in, day out when you have that two-way, one-on-one conversation with them. So forward.
I think what is standing out is communication.
Very true. Like they say, everything rises and falls on leadership. Okay, but leadership rises and falls on communication.
Very, very, very true. Allow me to also build up on something that you mentioned on training and development. What do you think are some of the opportunities that we have as trainers to our employees during this change of, because I think we are in a shifting phase? What do you think are some of the opportunities that technology is presenting to us? Because honestly, some of these things that we have been doing one-on-one, we will prefer to do them via LMS, very self-administered. What do you think are the opportunities that are coming to us as an organization and as HR in training?
Okay, so one opportunity, reporting. When you hold your physical training, you need to write a report and all that. That is time consuming. Deploying a virtual and online training tool, one will help you aggregate that report. So you now have enough time to do more strategic things about thinking and planning for tomorrow, and not sitting down to compile a report, who attended, how many hours did we take the training. The system generates all that for you. Okay? And when you talk about skills audits, because people are going through using the system to acquire the necessary skills that is required for growing in the organization, some of these trainings have been mapped to certain key competencies that are required for you to succeed at certain job level. You don't have to begin to do another skill assessment. The system is doing it for you. That's a great opportunity that we have. So these are some of the opportunities. So it's easy for you to scale, like I say. It's easy for you to put the records together, the analytics. You're able to predict who has gone through certain trainings that will help them acquire all the competencies that are required to succeed. And then it also makes it easy for you to measure. This person has gone through XYZ training. They should have acquired XYZ skill. And this is the impact for those people who have acquired this skill. This is how it should impact their productivity. You're able to also track that using that particular system. So the system kind of removes so much from you. You don't have enough time to think. And as you know, those who think are paid more than those who use their hands to do the work. Okay? So thinking is where we need to be. We should sit in a position where we're thinking on how to take this company to greater heights, to unimaginable heights. And you can only do that by thinking. You don't have enough time to think, then you find it difficult to go. You know what they say? You need to dream. Your dream, you now translate into vision. When you don't have time to dream, when will you write down the vision?
Yes, Lillian.
Emmanuel, that's a good one. I think to me, what I'm seeing is the fact that we are able to reach out to many staff as opposed to just, because before you look at the logistics, if you're to conduct a training, it will even take a whole week for you to reach the entire region or even more than a week. Right now, because of technology, you are able to reach the bigger population of staff in a very short time. You can even do it in a single day, and you've reached out to everyone. Even a good example is what you're doing today. So to me, I think that's where technology has come in handy in terms of just doing away with the logistics issues from cost perspective to the time zones and all that. So yeah, I think to me, it's just the bit of being able to reach a bigger population at the same time.
Maybe to add up on one of the opportunities that we have, I think it's more of exchange of ideas, because it's very now easy to get trainers even from outside the country to train, and which promotes, maybe for organizations that are franchise, promotes exchange of ideas. You're able to know what other people are doing in some other place.
Yes.
To bring up a challenge maybe for us as instructional designers, maybe to make sure that the LMS programs and the training programs that we have are very engaging and user-friendly. Because maybe we can have a discussion about how people will see a change if the system is not very engaging. Yeah? Yeah.
True.
So that's why what you
Actually, I
can
agree.
see today, sorry, Lillian, what you can see today is
No,
organizations are beginning to deploy the learning system that you have. It's not just, if it's an online learning system, which is not virtual like we're talking now. If it's virtual, the opportunity for the facilitator to engage the participant is there, because you introduce maybe some icebreaker game in between the poll. Like I was talking about the session I attended yesterday, where the woman was describing how she engages people. Every 4 minutes there's an activity. Every 4 minutes so if you're running a 1 hour training, and every 4 minutes there's an activity. And then if it's a video training, if it's a video, if it's an e-learning, okay, you need to ensure that you have provision for not just asking them to read. There is a video, so they can watch a video. There's an audio, and then there is a quiz that you need to take in between. So if you're covering maybe 5 different topics, let's even if it's a 30 minutes program, if you're covering 5 topics in 30 minutes, every 5 minutes there's a quiz. So you need to interact, or to move to the next page, you need to interact with the system. So it doesn't just play by itself and you keep reading. So you need to interact, you need to answer some questions that will jump you to make sure that you are actually paying attention. If you don't answer the question correctly, you're not able to move forward. And then you expect it within a certain short time frame. You'll be forced to be engaged with the system.
It is very true. As adults, you find that our concentration span is very low. If you don't engage the people, the participants around you, their mind will wander off.
Yes.
Yeah. Lillian, you wanted, I think, to mention something?
No, I think Emmanuel has exhausted what I wanted to say. He's already mentioned, so that's fine.
So you are going to stop there.
You have already preempted her mind.
Exactly.
This conference was a Pan-African conference, and allow me to reiterate that, because I want to use the word African. Do you think as Africa we are ready for this virtual space that we are moving into? Do you think we have the right equipment? Do you think we have the right talent and skills in our organizations, or is there something else that we need to tweak to work? Yesterday, I was in a session where we were discussing about the way we have adopted other mechanisms that have worked somewhere else and theories. Is it time for us to check into our systems and maybe customize them to fit our African setting? Are we ready to go virtual in our trainings? Are we ready to go virtual in our onboarding? Do we have the right equipment and systems to enable us to do our performance management virtually? Maybe that is something we can address. It is something that has been working for first world countries, but it is something that is very new to us. Are we ready as Africa?
I think, Mercy, we are not yet there, But the fact that the goodwill and the resilience is, we have that resilience, if you ask me, because even the way this Pan-African conference has been conducted, that's a good enough, or rather a good show that indeed we are in the right space. So what we need to do is just continue with the same mindset of just changing from assuming that online or other virtual classes or virtual onboarding cannot take place. So just tweaking our mindsets to just make sure that we're in the right frame of mind that this can happen, and the training, the classroom trainings can actually be conducted virtually, and this, or rather, the face-to-face interviews can be converted into an online interview. So the mindset is what we need to change. But if you talk of infrastructures, the tools and all that, I think there's a lot of room for improvement at a wider level, not just at individual levels. I think that one now, we are not yet there, but there's some room for progress, for improvement.
Yeah, indeed. Emmanuel?
So she has said it. We of connectivity, I think we are ready, because you have companies that are just Pan-African companies, and they're using technology to deploy HR services across. So for all those companies that are Pan-African, most of them do have an employee self-service system, manager self-service system. So I believe that we are getting there. It's not something that is completely alien to what we've been doing. We've been doing them, but maybe at a low scale. The current pandemic has now pushed us, okay, to begin to do it at a faster rate, adopt technology at a faster rate. Before now, we would say, no, I love seeing people around me. I love doing my thing face to face. Everybody should come in. But now, the pandemic has pushed us to adopt technology, at the snap of a finger. So I think we are, I would say we are ready. We are ready. It's just for us to begin to put two major things in place: power and internet connectivity. These are the two things. We can get these two ready, then I'm sure we will coast. If you can, even in Kenya, most of the technological companies that you have in the world, you will discover that there are Africans that are coming up with these things. Okay, Africans are coming up with these things. So I think we are ready. It's just that we need to get our infrastructure in place. The challenge of Africa is the infrastructure. No power, no connectivity. If we can get that solved, then we will beat even the first world. Yeah.
I think, Mercy, I'll differ with my co-panelists slightly in the sense that we are not yet ready fully from a mindset perspective, because I've seen a scenario whereby if it's an online class or rather an online session, then actually the uptake will be very slow or rather low. And then if it's a classroom setup, the whole place will be full. So I think that is the mindset that I'm talking about, whereby can we now just say that, yes, this can be conducted in an online platform and still be successful? If it's in interviews, how do we convince our business leaders or other leaders that indeed you can have a virtual interviews and still have the same outcome? You don't have to have the face-to-face interviews. So that mindset is what we need to change. Because I've seen a scenario whereby a business leader will tell you, no, I think I'll prefer to see the person, have a one-on-one, and this one-on-one can still be conducted online. So I think the mindset, we still, there's a lot of room for improvement in that context.
Yeah, we actually need to warm up to the idea that we can still do some of these things virtually.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So we need to work on our mindset, which is critical. Mindset.
It is a change of mindset. Yeah.
The mindset shift. Yes.
Yeah. I think in the same vein as we discuss about the new technology, we will appreciate that some of the things. Let me mention about compensation and benefits. You will ask an employee to work from home, and then they will ask you a question: who caters for my Wi-Fi? Is it time to review our benefits and tailor? How do I make it suit the employee? Is it time that we look into such things? Because an employee will tell you, yes, it's fine, I am willing to work from home. but who caters for my Wi-Fi? Maybe that is a discussion we need to have around maybe new benefits. Do we reduce the telephone benefits, the car allowance? Yeah.
I think most.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I think we need to be a bit sensitive as HR professionals again, because if you look at the businesses also, businesses are also struggling. So we can't say, so yes, there's a bit of Wi-Fi because the person is doing actually official duties or an official duty.
Yeah.
So yes, we have to provide for that. We have to provide the workstation. But again, in the same breath, can we make sure that we are able to balance off so that it's not so... What are the challenges or what are the requests that are coming in? Are they actually making sense? Because this is a scenario where you get somebody telling you, I need a 1-bedroom house because...
Very malicious.
Yes, exactly. For me to work from home, I need a separate, because my house right now, it's, a smaller whatever. So I think how reasonable can we also be as HR leaders to just make sure that the requests that are coming in are actually very, very reasonable for us to make that informed decisions. So we should not be very quick to make those rash decisions that are not actually feasible. So a good example is that Wi-Fi that you've talked about. I think it's very important for that because, again, that person is not able to perform. And you're expecting them to have the outcome, or rather for them to meet the deliverables. So some will be very, very important. But again, some you'll have to negotiate and persuade the staff to just look at the context of from an employer's perspective. So we're in a very awkward space as HR leaders right now. We're in a very awkward space of just trying to find the right balance.
Balance, exactly. Because I think we are trying to find a balance where an employee can meet us at a good point where we are both comfortable. Yeah?
Yes. Good.
Yeah. Emmanuel?
Yeah, so balance is the word. It's balance. That's just the key word. If we want the employees to work from home, we need to meet them halfway. They also need to meet us halfway, because it means that we'll have removed the cost of mobility, traveling from point A to point B, and then we've also reduced the time that they spend in traffic. So that is also helping to improve their life. Sometimes if you spend so much hours in traffic, by the time you get to the office, you're already weak. In addition, it's a cost of the person's physical health and mental health. So basically, I think it's the balance. We need to look at the balance, and then what benefit are we going to derive having the person work from home? Because if someone is working from home, the other thing we also need to recognize is that home automatically becomes the extension of the workplace. If the guy has an accident, while working from home, you are responsible. So let's weigh all the risk and then try to find a balance and then see what we can do with regard to the compensation and benefits.
Yeah, I think we will all agree that this is a new space for all of us. You get new challenges, things that you are not used to having before that are coming on board, and you have to think on your feet. Yeah, that's the word I'm using. Yeah. And something that Lillian, you mentioned, as HR professionals, we need to be very agile and very flexible in our decision making. Yeah?
Very true, Mercy. It's important.
Yeah. I think to wrap up our discussion, we are 10 minutes out. I think I would want us to discuss something about employee engagement, employee relations. Some of these activities are activities that we do physically, like team building, ensuring maybe interdepartmental cohesion, we do job rotation. How do we address this issue right now, employee engagement? How do we keep them engaged? We have talked about their performance, we have talked about their remuneration, where we are handling their compensation and benefits, but it goes further than doing that. How do we keep them engaged? How do we keep them feeling that they are a part of this good vision, this mission of the company?
I think, Mercy, that's a very good observation, or rather question. Because if you ask me right now, what has happened is nothing has changed. The only thing we need to change as HR professionals is actually moving whatever activities we were doing face-to-face to an online platform. So to me, the change is it's just moving from the analog to tech, maybe to digital space. So if you ask me, like a good example would be if you used to have your traditional, maybe how do you call it, these the rituals, or rather the traditions, whereby you'd have maybe your coffee days or your pizza days. Continue having them. The only difference now is that you are having them virtually, so you can agree on a certain time, certain day. We're gonna sit together. We are just gonna catch up and just find out how you're doing and how you're faring on. So there's that team's engagement from time to time. If you look at even these. Another form of engagement would be maybe you conduct talks, just have a session whereby you are just saying nothing. It's an open session, open forum, whereby staff will just speak their mind, share with you what they're going through. And we do that a lot in DTB. So what we are doing right now is every Saturday, there's just a forum, an open session, whereby we just discuss anything and from everything to anything. And trust me, there's a lot of engagement. People are looking forward to it, because that is the only session whereby they are not talking anything to do with business, anything to do with target. It is them just connecting with the HR and connecting with each and every staff on board. So I think to me, it's just having those frequent communication, like what we said before, a lot of communications, a lot of connectivity through those kind of, whereby you're able to see one another, like I'm seeing you and Emmanuel right now. Then I'm able to say, Emmanuel looks like he's happy or sad. Then, those kind of things. So a lot of communication and connectivity.
Yeah.
Emmanuel?
Yeah, and like Lillian had just said, some of the things that we do physically, we can actually do them online. Today, the trend now is for organizations to enter into the Jerusalem Dance Challenge. So you can always try to come on Zoom, and everybody will dance. In our town hall meetings, when we have our town hall meetings, that's usually what we start with. So people will dance, and then we'll assess who is the best dancer, and then recognize them. So we are already. So everyone will show their new styles that they've learned, and we get that done. Even birthday parties, we've had birthday parties. People who are even staying in the US, they join in. The DJ is playing from somewhere else, and you are here. We've done awards, okay? Award nights or award days or award evening. Zoom. So all these things, it's still possible for us to do them. The only thing you might say is, okay, how do we serve the food? You get your small chops with you. When it is time to eat, we are all eating and drinking. Just the way I'm drinking my water. So everybody will have theirs. And we can order, with the organization can actually order, those small chops and get them delivered, to the employees, and then get them delivered in the morning, and in the afternoon, we are set. Everybody has their pack of food. As we're talking, we're chewing and eating. So we can get it done, okay, and we can see the other person doing the same thing. So it's still possible. And then if it's to play a game, there's this online.
I think
at the end of the day, if you have a ladder board that shows who is the winner, who is second, who is third. So there's a lot you can do. So what we need to do as HR professionals is to begin to discover digital tools, online tools that can help us replicate most of those things that we do physically, so that we can begin to do them online and get everyone excited and engaged.
Indeed, it is a research. It is a research phase for us to know because I think we will realize that we have unutilized resources that we had, but we had not exhausted them, or we had not put them into practice. Yeah, because all organizations have Wi-Fi, but we are finding that now we are appreciating the need for connectivity. We find out that we are appreciating that we can actually do some of these things without being in the office. I think for anyone who has any questions, there's a discuss button on the right side of your screen. Feel free to ask a question there. Someone here by the name Roslyn said at times we are experiencing some connectivity challenges, but we are able to follow through.
Okay.
New technology, new challenges.
So I believe that will a replay be available so that for those who have a challenge, maybe when they watch the replay, so it will help them to also catch up areas where they've missed. So that's good. Thank you very much, Rosalind, for that feedback or feed forward. I think it's feed forward.
Feed forward.
Emmanuel, feed forward.
Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. My panelist, Lillian, who turned out to be a panelist, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. You have brought really good insights. I think one thing that has stood out for me and so many people is being very intentional about what we are doing, because this is a new phase for everyone. You need to be very intentional about what we are doing. Flexibility also, and communication. And it is my hope that we will survive this season. That is one thing for sure. And we move into, someone mentioned that we are not moving into the new normal. We are moving into a new normal. We are not going back to the normal. We are moving into a new normal. Yeah, which is very true.
Yes.
Any last comments from our panelists?
Let the lady go first.
Ladies first.
That was very clever, Emmanuel, and I'll take it up. So I think, Manny, just to say thank you so much, Mercy, for being a moderator, and also to thank the participants who've been so patient and been able to create time to connect with us and just to listen to us. We say a big thank you. And then maybe just to urge HR leaders who are here, I think all of us, the participants who are here together with the co-panelists, this is the time for us as HR to actually stand out and be counted. This is not the time for us to wave the HR flag. The time for waving the flag ended. It was pre-COVID. With the COVID and post-COVID, I think it's time for us to stand out by just trying to emphasize, or rather to practice what we've just talked about today. So let us go back to organizations and try as much as possible to stand out for our staff, practice empathetic leadership, be more compassionate, be more involved, and communicate more. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you.
Okay, so my turn. Thank you, Mercy. You've been a wonderful moderator. Thank you, Lillian. I've also learned from the things that you've shared. I also like to thank our participants, for those who have stayed on with us. And thank you for those who are giving us a thumbs up. I can see some of them are giving us thumbs up. Yeah. Rosalind, who also shared the feedback. Thank you very much. Paul Yasaru, thank you very much. So, as HR leaders, is that this is an opportunity for us to step out of our HR hats, okay, and begin. How do we do that? There needs to be outside technologies that will help the organization to be able to manage the people effectively and get productivity to the level that the organization would like it to be. So let's not just sit back and wait for people out there identify technologies that will help the organization, both in the HR space and even in driving the business. Okay, so that's how we begin to show that we're value creators. We are value creators for our organizations. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing us in another event, or when the travel restrictions are completely lifted, we get to also see face to face. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael. I think my parting shot is that this is a growth phase. We are growing and we are evolving. Thank you so much for being our participants, for being patient with us, even with the connectivity hitches. Thank you for standing with us. Feel free to connect with either myself, Lillian, or Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Let's keep the conversation going. I am sure we can create meaningful synergies moving forward. Thank you so much and have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lillian, for the presentation.
Thank you too.
Oh, Jerry here.
Oh, that's Jerry. I thought it was Emmanuel. Are we backstage or still online?
I was on backstage then. I'm not, oh yeah, I'm on backstage right now.
Oh, and myself?
You're also on backstage.
Oh, not yet. So I need to come out completely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it.
I'll thank you on the next session.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay.